It looked like he was about to come on strong, too. When he came back up from the minors, he had a good outing. But he faded again. We are live, by the way. Happy Friday to everybody. Not the greatest slate of games. Oh, coming off a great Thursday. I swept the board yesterday. I saw on Twitter, Matt Modai. Oh, that's Matt Modai in the middle, in case you don't remember him from the baseball show. He's been on a bunch of times. I saw you had 2 good days in a row, right?
Swept it yesterday, went 3-1 on Wednesday. So we're always good to brag about a hot streak, knowing that a cold streak is immediately going to happen after that.
Oh, it's coming. It's coming for me, too. So, yeah, we just got 6 NBA games, and then we'll just bring up the college football games at the very end, the 2 of them, just to share some picks on it. First up, Wizards at Magic, and this line is at 11. Let's go. Wizards plus 11. Magic minus 11. Over, under. All right, so I'll go first on this one. I'm playing Washington. So I'm pretty much just playing the double header here. A lot of times in these NBA schedules, when they play the same team back-to-back, whatever way the first one goes, the second one tends to go the other way. Orlando won 139-120 the other night. So getting 11 points, I'm willing to play the doubleheader there. But all the mismatches that were there in the first matchup obviously still apply here. Washington still can't protect the rim. They still can't keep the Magic off the offensive glass, and they still can't keep Orlando off the foul line. So it's a high-risk play. Washington's not a good team, but they are, even after that loss to Orlando the other night, they're still 4-1 against the spread in their last 5 on the road. So this is a team that's done a good job of keeping it competitive in these road games. Orlando just got them in the first one. Willing to throw a few dollars on Washington, keeping it close in this one. So I'm on the Wizards. Modai, you want to go next?
Yeah, I am also with you on the Wizards for the exact same logic. I like to call it the flip-flop method. You just bet whatever the opposite is of what just recently happened. It's NFL. It's like when you have 2 divisional matchups in a 3-week span, it's the same logic there. I'm kind of like you. Like if you just want to look at the matchups and the stats, a lot of it favors the Magic. But I'm also not saying the Wizards are going to win outright. I just like them plus. I think I got it at 11.5 at minus 115 at BetMGM. I also do have a player prop with kind of the same logic. Jalen Suggs under 14.5 points. Everybody's going to be on him because he scored 22 last game. He was 9 of 15 from the field. All 3 of those numbers are season highs for Jalen Suggs. He's only gone over 14.5 points in, 6 of 17 games this year. He had missed it in 3 straight prior to this game. So it's the exact same logic, just with the player prop. Everybody's going to be on him because he scored 22 points last game. That's the 3rd time this year he's gotten to 20 plus. So 2 plays, basically just immediate fades of what happened recently.
I like it. And Rat Hawk, what about you?
Yeah, put me on an island. I'm going to be on the Magic here. I completely understand the flip-flop method, and it does work. It works, I'd say, more often than not. I just still can't get there with the Wizards defensively. Still one of the worst teams in the NBA, and I'm just going to keep riding the hot cover hand until it stops paying off for me. It's one of those things where it's like it's like riding the bus. If I miss my stop by 1 or 2 where I was supposed to get off, I think we've done well enough that we can afford to take one on the chin with the Magic here and there. So I'll take Orlando in this one.
Well, he's not lying, because the Magic, I believe, have been the most profitable team in the NBA thus far.
Against the spread, that's true. Yeah, I looked that up earlier today.
Our poll is leaning Washington slightly. We're pretty split. 43% of the viewers clicked on Wizards plus 11. 41% said they would lay the 11 with the Magic. 11% over. So I guess a lot of people are seeing that super high score in the first matchup, assuming it goes over in the second one. Next game, 76ers at Celtics. I'm pretty sure Modai is a Sixers fan, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Unfortunately, that is accurate.
Yeah. So want to go first in this one?
Yeah, so I have another 2 plays here. They're both player props. I'm on Embiid over 5.5 assists. So I got it at minus 120. Right now it's best offered at minus 130. Just right off the bat, he's listed as questionable. So if he ends up not playing, it's just refunded, no harm, no foul. If he plays, I think he's going to be fine. He's going to be able to play. They're not going to try and push him through a regular season game. From a price perspective, I still like it, even at minus 130. Like across the board, you're seeing minus 140s, especially on some sharp books. And Embiid has been phenomenal as a passer this year. I've watched a ton of Sixers games. I'm really impressed. He's cleared 6+ assists in 12 of 16 games. And like, if you think about that in terms of his career, up until this year, his over-under was like 2.5 and 3.5, sometimes with the over being plus money. So the fact that it's at 5.5 and still too low just kind of shows how good of a passer he's been this year. Even against Boston, who is his nemesis, he's gotten 6+ assists in one of the 2 games. It was the most recent game where he had 7. If he plays, he's going to play his normal allotment of minutes. I think that he's going to continue to rack up a ton of assists. I'm also on Jason Tatum, over 4.5 assists as well. So the line movement on this one is crazy. I locked it in at plus 116, and I looked it up before I hopped on, and it's minus money now. So I mean, I'll take the CLV win there, but not great value locking it at this current time. This is also kind of a flip-flop method. He hasn't cleared 5 assists in his past 4 games, but he's gotten exactly 4 in 3 of the past 4. And then prior to this 4-game stretch, he hit it in 4 of 5 and in 5 of 8. And he crushes the Sixers from every possible perspective: wins and losses, points. And that also includes assists. He's cleared 5+ assists in 11 of 13 games against the Sixers, including both this year where he had 6. So 2 assist numbers, both on, or 1 Embiid, 1 Tatum, both over.
All right. Radhawk, anything in this one?
I think my face just melted with how much was just thrown at me, but I like it. I like it, but I'm leaning towards the Celtics here still. Just because I'm probably gonna bet this one closer to tip off once I know the status of Embiid. If Embiid's going here, I probably just make this a lean because I don't necessarily want to go against the Sixers team, against one of their marquee rivals with laying 6.5 or 7 with Joel Embiid on the other side. This is still a solid Boston team, but Philly, for whatever reason, seems to get up for these games regardless. They could be having I shouldn't say regardless, or for whatever reason, but they get up for these games. And,
they always play Boston tough.
Yeah, they always do. And
except for the playoffs.
Yeah, except for the playoffs.
I'm glad I wasn't gonna say it. So, but
Yeah.
I'll lean towards the Celtics here, barring any Embiid injury news.
I am on Philly, but I am in agreement with you where I'm waiting, because if Embiid is ruled out, I would love to get a Philly plus 9 here, Philly plus 9.5, however many numbers that moves the line. But I'm going to be playing Philly. It's just I'm going to be playing a Philly whatever the closing line is, if it's 6.5 or whatever it is. So I like the Sixers to bounce back and play Boston tough like they usually do. They got smacked by the Pelicans in the last game, but if you remember on the show, we were expecting that. I had the Pelicans as my top bet that night. It was such a look-ahead spot for the Sixers, coming off back-to-back wins, then going to New Orleans. They were eyeing up this Friday night game against Boston on ESPN the whole time. A meaningless Western Conference road game is not something that they need to get up for. They've had this game is circled. They've been waiting for this game all week. I really like the matchup on paper too. On the defensive side, the way to score on the Sixers defense, I feel like it's been the same for like 2-3 years now. You put your 5 out on the perimeter, get Embiid away from the basket, and then attack. Get Embiid away from the rim and attack. That's been the Philly defensive weakness for 2-3 years now. They have weak numbers protecting the rim, but that's not a testament to Embiid. What they do is they draw him away. Boston doesn't really attack the basket like that. They're 30th in paint frequency, dead last, 20th in rim frequency. This is a Celtics offense that relies on the outside shot. Philly's been playing great defense on the perimeter. On the last 5 games, they're top 5 in basically every metric in perimeter defense. So those Sixers are playing good defense out there. I'm willing to call a little bit of bullshit on this Celtics team without Porzingis as well. Remember, Robert Williams is gone from last year. Al Horford's aging. There's no size on this Boston roster without Porzingis. The Celtics just want to have a 3-point shootout. I think that plays into the strength of the Sixers. I think they're live. I would if Embiid plays, I think Philly's got a good chance of winning outright. If he doesn't play, I'm banking on this number shooting up to 9.5. And I'd love to have the points because I think Boston wants to have this 3-point shootout. And Philly, even without Embiid, I think they're up for that kind of game. So I'm on the Sixers side of things. I didn't bet it yet, though. I'm waiting it out. Our poll is on Boston. Our poll siding with Radhawk here. 48% of our viewers are down to lay the 6.5. 37% down to take the 6.5. 10% over, 3% under.
Isn't it bad that I think Tingus Pingus is going to stick with him Like
Someone called him that?
Michael Rappaport, I think it was.
Tingus Pingus? What?
That's hilarious.
Michael Rappaport has some of the best
He's
NBA
so
free
corny,
throws.
dude. He's so corny.
Did you see Saucy? I can't remember. Were you a Knicks fan?
Yeah.
Do you remember when he did the thing with Leandro Bomaro?
No, I don't.
I gotta send you the video. It's so he's like, who the fuck is it? Leapata Boopata? Was he a soccer player?
I did not see
I gotta
that.
send it to you. I gotta send it to you. It's hilarious.
Well, we got a real screamer on deck now. Memphis at Dallas, and there's all kind of injuries in this one. I'm putting the poll up. This is a hard pass for me. So if you guys have anything and want to take the mic here, I got nothing. Either you guys?
Yeah, I'm on Kyrie Irving over 3-pointers. I actually locked it in before Luka was ruled out, so I got it at plus 140.
Oh, shit.
Amazing value. Now it's at like minus something. I still think I would take it there. I mean, the Grizzlies give up the most points in the entire NBA. They allow 15.3, the most made 3-pointers. They allow also the highest 3-point percentage against. They also allow the second most 3-pointers specifically to point guards. The team's just a joke, and Kyrie is going to have the ultimate green light with no Luka. So I would still take it at that number, even where it is now.
Yeah, having that at plus money before that's
It was
nice.
lucky. I mean, yeah, it was lucky, but I'll take it.
Apparently, Luka Doncic had a daughter, by the way. That's why.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Radhawk, anything here?
Couldn't have waited one more day to have the daughter because I locked in Dallas this morning.
Oh, you're on Dallas?
As soon as I locked in Dallas, I think I locked him in at, oh gosh, what did I lock him in at 10.5? The news came out. The news came out, and I was like,
you know what though?
Like, right.
The way Memphis is playing, you might still cover that.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm still holding out hope for. I'm still just gonna be like, look, it is still the Memphis Grizzlies. I'm locking in my bet. I'm locking in my bet on Taylor Hawkins being the first coach fired. I stand by the sentiment that I think that once John Morant comes back, the Grizzlies might be too far gone to be able to salvage it. I mean, I know we're only talking about 25 games into the year, but
yeah, they're bad.
We're talking about a team that's 4-13 right now, and this blew my mind because you look at last year when Morant was actually injured, and not just dumb. This Memphis team was able to survive without him.
Yeah, they were good without him. I don't know what happened.
Yeah. And this year, it's just. I mean, I know no Steven Adams, no Brandon Clark, and they're not the biggest pieces of the team, but they're still key contributors. But for those two guys to be gone and Morant to not be playing, and this to be the leftover result,
they got to be the third worst team in the NBA right now behind Pistons and Spurs. They're so bad.
And Tyus Jones, I think, is underrated. Backup point guard.
Yeah.
Super good for them when
for sure.
John Moran was out. Yeah. And now Marcus Smart. Yeah. It's a season from hell from Memphis.
It is a nightmare. So our viewers agree that Dallas is the side at 6.5. I would imagine if there was a pass option in the poll that a lot of them probably would have clicked pass here. 59% click Dallas, 33% click Memphis. Next. All right, we got Knicks at Raptors. I'll go first on this one, and it breaks my heart that I'm fading my guys here. So I am on the Raps. Let me get it up. Come on now. Where's my Raptors graphics? Okay, so yeah, Raptors minus 2.5. So first of all, I like betting the Knicks on the road. When I fade the Knicks, it's usually at Madison Square Garden. They were the second best road team in the NBA last year. A lot of people, I'm a Knicks fan, so this is my favorite team. But I like betting them on the road. I'm fading them on the road here. And it gets even worse because I actually like the matchup for the Knicks on paper. The Raps are bad defensively in transition. Knicks are 5th in fast break efficiency. Knicks defense, top 10 in free throw rate, top 10 in forced turnover rate. Raps offense, bottom half of the NBA in both. Knicks are good at limiting offensive rebounds. That's the backbone of the Raptors offense. So I actually like the matchup for the Knicks on paper, and they're on the road in a spot I like to bet them. So why am I fading my favorite team in a spot that I usually like to bet them? It's their third game in 4 nights. And the first 2 were cupcake home games against Detroit and Charlotte. This just feels like a spot the Knicks get caught flat. And now Julius Randle may not play, by the way. He's listed as questionable. I think the Raps beat him comfortably. Just a terrible spot for the Knicks. I'm also betting Oh, I thought I had a graphic here for Raps first half. I guess I don't. But I'm also betting Toronto first half -1. So I split my money in half. I took Toronto first half -1 and Toronto full game -2.5. Fading my guys here. Modai?
Yeah, I have a similar, not on the main line, but another kind of fade. I'm on Jalen Brunson under 2.5 made 3-pointers. I think it's at +115 now. I got it at +112, so a little bit better now. I like to call these similar to the Wizards ones, like a Pepto play where you need to take Pepto when you're taking the bet because it's going to feel so gross because he just made 7 3-pointers yesterday. But going up against the Raptors on the second night of a back-to-back after playing 40 minutes is so much different than going up against the Pistons. And especially going into that Pistons game last night, he was coming off of a horrible game against Charlotte the game before. So you knew he was going to come in motivated. It's not going to be the same tonight. A much more difficult matchup. Raptors give up the 5th fewest 3-pointers specifically to opposing point guards. It's going to be scary because he literally just put up, like I said, 7 3-pointers yesterday. But it's kind of similar logic. Like he just went off yesterday, which makes me want to bet the opposite.
Right.
The next game. I also have another one that I like, Schroeder under 6.5 assists. I don't love the odds here. I got it at -132. I still think it's really good. Schroeder had 7+ assists in the first 6 games of the year. Since then, he's done it in 3 of 13. And even on the second half of a back-to-back, it's still a brutal matchup against the Knicks, who allow the 4th fewest assists. They also play at the 2nd slowest pace. The Raptors play at the 10th lowest, or excuse me, slowest pace. So not a lot of possessions, just limits stats in general. Also, Schroeder had 9 assists and 12 assists in his last 2 games. Those are clearly outliers. Outside of those 2 games, he had 7+ assists in 1 of his previous 11 games. So again, the odds aren't in your favor, but I love fading Schroeder in this matchup under 6.5 assists.
2 props there.
Yeah.
Radhawk, while I was talking, someone commented and said the look on Chris' face, it looks like he's on the Knicks big. Was the comment correct?
Nah, well, I'm not on him big. I was on him in a lean, but I think I'd rather I'm probably thinking I'm looking at the under. Yeah, I think it's going to be one of those, just like, I don't want to say flat performances, but just an ugly rock fight between these two, like a 103-99 kind of game. Something just ugly. What I think Toronto's, MO is going to be for much of the season under their new coach. Is just win a lot of these ugly games. They're not going to be flashy. They're not going to, try to put up 120 points like a lot of teams do in today's NBA. They're going to try to go back to 1990s basketball, first to 100 wins. So, give me the under here.
All right. So Raptors, shorter under assists, Brunson under 3-pointers, and the under. Our poll slightly leading Toronto. 48% of our viewers said they would lay the 2.5 with the Raps. 38% said they'd take the 2.5 with the Knicks. By the way, I also like Raptors first half. So 8% under too. Next, Spurs at Pelis. I bet the Spurs for the first time last night +7.5, and it was successful. So I am 1-0 backing the Spurs team, and I am not dipping my toe back in that pool. That team is garbage. I'm on the Pelicans here for a light bet. We're talking about 13-point spread here. So the graphic even says 13.5. I got it at 13. Spurs are the worst team in the NBA, and they're on a back-to-back against a Pelicans team that just seems to be surging. Getting CJ McCollum back. I don't think Trey Murphy is officially back, but he's questionable, so he might even return. He might make his season debut. Remember, he's been hurt since the offseason. He hasn't played yet. So I think there's going to be value on betting this Pelicans team. They started off the season 9-9. So everyone's kind of like, oh, maybe the Pelicans just aren't that good this year. They had injuries. They're dealing with shit. And now they just seem to be getting hot, and they're getting their guys back at the same time. So I think there should be value in betting this Pelicans team for the next couple weeks until the market catches up with them. 13.5 is crazy. So, I mean, proceed with caution. Actually, you know what we did in the Discord last night? Or maybe that was this morning. I did Oregon money line, Liberty money line, and Pelicans money line. The 2 college football favorites and Pelicans. I think a bunch of people tailed it too. We all, like a squad parlay. It comes out to be like -120 or something. But yeah, I'm on the Pelicans here for a small bet. Modai?
I agree with you on the Pelicans. I think that they're surging. And last I saw Trey Murphy was that he said that he plans to play. That's not official, so we'll just kind of have to see there. I'm on McCollum over 2.5 made 3-pointers. So I got it at +132. It's now at +102. He's only played in 7 games. The collapsed lung is so casual how they just say like, oh, he's going to be out with the collapsed lung. It's like, that sounds bad when you're an athlete who needs to run. But regardless, he played last night. He played 28 minutes. He got up 8 3-pointers, making 3 of them. He's attempted at least 6 in all 7 games that he's played. And the Pelicans just, especially if Trey Murphy's out, they just desperately need his shooting. They need a floor spacer because they're just limited on that when he's out of the lineup. Luckily against the Spurs, total train wreck. They gave up the 3rd most 3-pointers, the 2nd highest 3-point percentage allowed. Even if he doesn't get to 30 minutes played again, like even if he plays 28, I would still like for him to get to 3+ made 3-pointers because, like I said, they just desperately need his shooting, and he's gonna have the ultimate green light. So that's my prop for this one.
The Spurs defense is next level. Actually, Radhawk was just talking about the Spurs defense yesterday on this show. He took the over in last night's game because of how bad the Spurs defense is. Let me guess, you're going right back to the over?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, I already know.
Like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Like, it's like mind-numbingly bad. I'm trying to just pull up the generic numbers here, but give me 1 second.
And Wembayama, Prop Beaver was just talking about this. Analytically, he's by far the Spurs' best defender. Struggling a little bit on the offensive end, but he's playing great defense. He's out. So the Spurs' terrible defense and missing their best defender. Yeah, I can see it. I can see it.
So on the road this season, the Spurs allowing 122.5 points per 100 possessions. It could be worse. It could be the Pacers who have given up 155 and 152 on the road this season, but it's still bad. This Pelicans team is fully capable of hanging 100. I don't even know what the total is. It's still around the high 230s.
237.
Yeah, so this Pelicans team's capable of putting up 125, 130 in this game. The Spurs, 100 points from them probably gets us there. That's how bad their defense is. So give me the over here.
100 points from the Spurs get you over 237.
I think the 3 of us, and we just picked 2 people from the comments, no bench, probably put up 110 on the Spurs.
True.
Our community heavy on the Pelicans, 64% on New Orleans, 17% on the Spurs, 13% over, 4% under. Next game. Denver at Phoenix. Last I looked, this was at 3. So let's go. Nuggets -3. Suns +3. Over, under. This is the last NBA game, and then we got the 2 college football games. So I'll go first, but it's a very brief description here. I am on the Suns, and I bet it. I put 0.75 units on it, so that's a solid bet for me on this at this point in the NBA season. Really tough to make a case for the Suns without Devin Booker and Bradley Beal. To me, I don't think there's enough data. I still don't think we really know what this team is yet. We certainly don't know what they are, missing certain pieces. But the truth is, I've had a lot of success fading this Nuggets team on the road, and you might not know this, but the Denver Nuggets are 2-8 against the spread on the road this year. That's an NBA worst. So let me run that back. No team has been less profitable on the road than the Denver Nuggets. They're 2-8 against the spread. Fading the Nuggets on the road has been an extremely profitable endeavor, even worse than the Chicago Bulls. So I've been pretty consistently fading this Nuggets team in their road spots. I don't see any reason to stop here. Now, Jamal Murray and Aaron Gordon are both questionable for Denver. Obviously, 2 huge pieces, and obviously when you make a play like this, there's a chance they both get ruled in, and they just completely torch the Suns without Booker. There's definitely some risk involved, but Denver immediately flies to play Sacramento tomorrow night. Not saying they're not going to take this game seriously. Obviously, a road game against the Phoenix Suns is a huge game for them. It's just another angle, especially when you're dealing guys coming back from injuries. Do you really want to rush Jamal Murray back onto the floor, or do you want to maybe have him sit and play the bigger game against Sacramento, even though both these games are probably equally as big? But yeah, I'm on the Suns +3. I'm getting points against the least profitable team in the NBA on the road, so I'm in.
I got a prop in this one as well. Grayson Allen over 2.5 made 3-pointers. This is mostly a play just because of Booker and Beal being out. Not that he's done it consistently in every game that they've missed. Without them, he's done it in 3 of 7 that Booker's been out. He just got 8 against the Bulls. I'm not necessarily expecting that, But I do think that they're just going to need people to shoot without Booker and Beal playing. This was a smaller play. Like I didn't put a full, like my full normal unit size on this one. I lowered it. So it's more so just a lean than anything, but it's pretty good odds, plus 130, something like that. So that's kind of where I went.
Rat Hawk?
Yeah, I think I went Denver money line in this one. Rather than lay the 3, because I had it around 2 when I put the bet in. But I just don't want to mess with the points. I think Denver probably wins this game, but I think it could be a 1 or a 2 point game. Like you said, they're still the worst road cover team in the NBA this season, so I'm not really going out of my way to lay points with them on the road against the Phoenix Suns team that, may be missing, Booker and Beal, but that's been the case for Phoenix for much of the year, and they still got a decent record without him. So, yeah, I just,
doesn't sound like you really like this one.
I don't, but I'm not gonna. God, Mitch is rubbing off of me. I'm not gonna take a pass.
Yeah, I mean, this graphic is wrong too. It says Denver +3. It's supposed to be Denver -3, but he said money line anyway. So that's City's leaning Denver money line. Our poll is leaning towards the Nuggets. 48% of our poll clicked that they would lay the 3 points with Denver. 43% said they would take the 3 with Phoenix. Let's go on to these conference champions college football games. Moda, you're not a college football guy, right?
Not a huge college football guy. I have a play in the Oregon one, but
Okay.
I'll call it a lean. I'm not really confident putting out much for college football.
Got it. So we got New Mexico State. Where's this one? This one's at 10, and the Oregon one dropped down to 9.5.
9.5, yeah.
All right. Rat Hawk, do you have a play in this one? We haven't talked about this game yet. I don't even know where you're at.
Yeah, no, I was leaning towards New Mexico State. The way I see it is that, the Aggies, Jerry Kill's done a crazy job with this New Mexico State team. Last year, you could argue that, New Mexico State, they didn't really play anybody. They were able to choose their own schedule. They played more cupcakes than a bakery. It was ridiculous. It was the House of 1,000 Corpses. But this year in Conference USA, they had to step up. They had to play some teams, and they're still 10-3 on the year, 10-1 against the number. Liberty had been crushing teams for the better part of the season. They beat New Mexico State by 16 in the first meeting. But I've been really impressed with Diego Pavia, quarterback for New Mexico State.
Is it Pavia? I've always said Pavia.
It might be Pavia.
I think it's Pavia, unless I've been saying it wrong for 2 years now. I think it's Pavia.
Pavia, Pavlova, potato. It still works. I've just been impressed from what I've seen from him. He's been playing well. And I think that, New Mexico State can match up really well with Liberty in the rematch. To me, this is just a play on the number. I think Liberty wins, but I think they win by 7. If at most, I think they win it by 10. So getting 10.5 with that hook on the end of it, I think is a good spot to be in. So give me New Mexico State.
I am on the other side. I am on Liberty. I made the mistake of trying to fade Liberty twice. Where I tried to fade them with the angle of, hey, this is a one-dimensional offense. All they do is run the ball. Because that's all Liberty does, is run the ball. They're 4th in run frequency. It goes Air Force, Navy, Army, Liberty. They run. That's all they do is run the ball. So I picked a couple spots and faded them when they played a good run defense. Because I was like, oh, this is it. They can stop the run, and Liberty doesn't have much else. Didn't work out. First of all, Liberty ran the ball anyway. Didn't matter how good the run defense was. And second of all, they actually can throw it out of the play action. They don't do it, but they can make plays out of the passing game as well. New Mexico State clearly on a rampage. I think they've won 8 in a row now. But against who? There's not really many notable wins in there. Maybe the Auburn one, but the Auburn came out and said they didn't even prepare for that game. They did 2 full weeks of practice for the Alabama game. They didn't even run New Mexico sets in practice. Like, that's how little they gave a shit about the New Mexico State game. Start looking like a very public dog here, judging by the poll and what I've seen. I think a lot of people are New Mexico State. I think Liberty just continues their rampage. I think they win by 2 touchdowns. I'm on Liberty -10. I also have Liberty money line in a parlay. So I'm on the Flames. You said you had a bet for the Oregon game.
Correct. Yeah.
All right. And we are actually, wow, our community split right down the middle. 47% said they would lay the 10 with Liberty. 45% said they would take the 10 with New Mexico State. Last game, biggest game of the night. This one should be awesome. We got Oregon at Washington. There are 9s out there, but I'm gonna just put it at 9.5 because that's where most books have it. Rat Hawk, where are you at on this one?
I've gone with Oregon -9.
There you go. Now you're thinking clearly, Rat Hawk.
Yes. The point that I came to here is that I think both teams are going to be able to score. I think it just boils down to which defense do you trust to be able to get those key stops late, and for me that's Oregon's defense. I mean, we look at Washington and what Washington did throughout the season. They came out gangbusters. They started the year with that big win over, I want to say it was Boise State.
They beat the hell out of Boise State.
They beat them by like 37 or something.
I had Boise State plus 12.5 in the game. They beat the hell out of it. Wasn't close. It was not close.
And I lived by the mantra that Kalen DeBoer is not going to take his foot off the gas against anybody. They're going to keep running it up, blah blah blah. And what happened? They did that for the better part of the season. But they also you kind of start to see the wheels fall off a little bit once they got into conference play. They gave up 32 points to Cal in a big win, but they gave up 32 points. Beat Oregon. That's their best win on the year.
They should have lost, though.
They should have lost, but it's still their best win on the year, I would say. Then you have the win. Yeah, you have the win over Arizona State where they were laying 28, won by 8. Could have lost that game outright.
That was my top bet of the week. Arizona State plus 27.5.
Yeah, and they beat Stanford by 9, a game they were laying 27.5. They beat USC, but again, who hasn't? I mean, that defense is beat up. There's 25 letters in USC's alphabet. D isn't one of them. They beat Utah, which is still a solid win, but again, we've talked about ad nauseum about the quarterback play for Utah and how it's pretty much non-existent for the most part. No offense to Bryson Barnes or Nate Johnson, but it is what it is. Then they win the Civil War, and then they beat Washington State in the Apple Cup by 3 points, laying 16. A Washington State team that for the middle part of that season was dead. Like, they had nothing. So they were allowing teams to hang around. I think if Washington wants any shot in this game, you have to fire the first shot. You cannot play from behind against Oregon and let the Ducks go downhill because they are going to run the ball down your throat. Bucky Irving is going to go nuts. And there's still that added wrinkle that we haven't really seen Bo Nix use his feet yet. And I'm wondering if Dan Lanning's going to use that now, or should they win this game, save it for the playoff? So I'm going to go Oregon here. I think all their chips are in the middle of the table here. I think they are favored by this number for a reason. Give me the Ducks.
Same here. Very short and sweet. Number one, Oregon went on the road to Washington already. Obviously, they lost, but they covered the plus 3.5 for us. Everyone who watched that game, anyone who watched that game went away from it, taking away that Oregon's the better team. They outgained them 540 to 400. The only reason Washington won the game is Dan Lanning went for it on 3 different 4th and shorts, didn't get any of them. If he converts one of those 3, Oregon wins. And now you got here no longer at their home field. It's now a neutral site. They're in Vegas, actually. There's no, other than the passing offense, there's no other angle of this game where Washington can compare to Oregon. They can't compare on the run game. They can't compare defending the run. They can't compare defending the pass. They're just not on the same level as a program. And by the way, the passing offense, that electric passing offense from Michael Penix, that it's kind of being overvalued based on what they did earlier in the season. If you actually just look at the last 4 or 5 games from Penix, it's not that insane. He was going off early in the season. There's been a serious drop-off in production. I don't know if teams have figured out how to slow this offense down. It's still good as hell, but it's not good enough to hang with Oregon. And look, it's a conference championship game. Anything could happen. We're talking about laying 9.5 points here, so there's definitely some risk involved. But I feel like on paper, as far as football goes, Oregon is more than 10 points better than Washington. So I'm taking Oregon.
Yeah, this is more of a lean for me. I'm with you guys. I'm also on Oregon. My logic is I don't watch a ton of college football. I watched that game and immediately thought that Oregon was the better team. I also love the fact that the spread just feels like the books are baiting the squares to take Washington. People are going to say, Washington's undefeated and they're the higher ranked team. Why are they underdogs by 9.5 points? And it opened up at 8.5. So the Sharps are obviously on Oregon. It bet it up to 9.5. So for that logic alone, I feel like again they're baiting people to take Washington, just looking at the records and looking at the rankings of the teams. So I'm on Oregon as well.
Ducks across the board. We are a Ducks program. Go ahead.
Sorry, I was going to say, I will say this. If you don't want to lay the 9.5 with the Ducks, but you still think Oregon's probably going to win this game and you don't want to take the money line, the better price would be to take on Bo Nix to win the Heisman. Because I think if Oregon wins this game, Bo Nix is winning the Heisman. Because I think it's down to him and Penix. So
no, it's him and Daniels. Is probably
LSU, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, fair enough. But I still think
we have an LSU guy in our Discord, and I was like, oh, I hope he's listening right now. I was like, I was like, yeah, Bo Nix is gonna win it, and he was pissed. So like those motherfuckers in LSU, they think they're winning. He's winning the Heisman. I don't know how realistic it is, but they believe that Penix is winning this Heisman. So all right, let's do a quick community parlay, and I'll include the college football games in it because why not? First we got Magic money line. Did the poll? Celtics won the poll. Grizzlies, Mavericks won the poll. Knicks, Raptors won the poll. All right, first leg of the community parlay. TWD is in the chat. The offensive line for Oregon is going to eat up Washington's weak-ass defensive line all night, says TWD. Looks like Magic is going to be the first leg.
Kind of how I expect Zion to eat up the Spurs. like it's a baconator.
It looks like the first leg is going to be like it's a baconator. Well, first leg is going to be a Orlando Magic money line. Second leg we'll go with Pelicans money line. We'll go with Nuggets or Nuggets won that poll. Nuggets, then we'll go Liberty money line and Oregon money line. All right. So second place in that one. You know what we'll do first, then second place. Second place in that poll was Celtics money line, so we'll throw Celtics in there. Prop Beaver, can you pull up FanDuel for the parlay, please?
I'm sitting here thinking the most horrifying experience has to be anybody where Zion Williamson walks up to you and says you're looking like a snack.
That shit on Twitter with that porn star was
Mariah.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
I don't know who got the worst of that.
Modai goes, that was good stuff.
It's classic comedy.
That was good stuff. All right, so the last two legs. All right, so Prop Beaver ready? It's Magic money line, Celtics money line, Pelicans money line, and you got to go to college football and at Oregon. So Prop Beaver's getting the odds. It's obviously going to be a really chalky one. Plus 132. The chalkiest of parlays. But you know what? It's hidden. Orlando money line, Celtics money line, Oregon money line, Pelicans money line. Thanks everyone for watching. I think we'll be live tomorrow morning. Me, Radhawk, Jay, and Mitch for Championship Saturday. I haven't talked to Mitch, but as far as I know, we'll be live tomorrow morning, 10:30 a.m., same time as always. You know what? We could probably push it to 11 because there's not as many games to go through. We'll take. So
I'll show up regardless of if they show up or not. I'll show up.
Yeah, so I'll be live tomorrow morning. And then next week we'll be doing NBA every day. We'll get Modai back on here. Now that we're in the full swing of NBA season. So thanks everyone for watching. Right under their names is their Twitter accounts. I appreciate these guys coming on, so give them a follow. I'll tweet out and I'll tag them. I'll give you guys a follow for taking the time out to come on and share their notes. Everyone, now Toast wants to, by the way, if you're wondering why Toast wasn't on the show today, I texted him asking him, and he was like, no, I'm not interested. I don't like YouTube anymore. That's what he said. I'm joking.
I thought he was going to pull out the Chan Ho Park diarrhea.
No, he's in Nashville coaching a hockey team, I think. So he's, I believe that's where he is. But everyone, enjoy your night. Remember to bet responsibly. And hopefully, the next time you see my face tomorrow morning, we all have some more money in our accounts. Talk to you guys later.